energy, it's the right set of people. So, which one should I review first? This or this? This is purely for America real estate market. This is Global Real Estate Investment Handbook. So this is more global. So which one is America. Okay, so we start with America. And so let me start with why did I write the book? I got recently what I call, and Bishop Oyedepo has shared this with me several times, about we being the envy of other people. And I didn't even understand what it means until recently. And I realized that there the positive envy and there was the negative envy. So I got, because I'm in the real estate sector in Africa and Dubai, but there was a new version of envy among Africans who do real estate after our expansion in the US. I just started hearing my name everywhere. Does he think this is Nigeria? You know, can you imagine 99 acre? Or who does he think he is? You know, how do you start that big? You know, in the US, you know, you could just hear. So I said, well, maybe I should just write a book about everything I'm doing. Okay, that there's no big deal to it. Anybody else can do it. Okay, maybe you don't know how, and I want others to do it. I'm not one of those people who, you know, there are certain successful people who want, it's only us that must be successful, right? Others must not be like me. I'm not that kind of person. Right? Those who have known me over the years, whatever I'm doing, I don't mind doing it. You doing it. I've had employees. In fact, one of my intern, he joined me as an intern 2015, right? For 6 months, we did this internship program. Now, after the internship, he said he was starting the same business I was doing, right? And I said, no problem, and I supported him. He then started from his house. Now, 6 months later, he got an office space to share an office with another person. Guess where? The same building where my own office is. Right? So he got a one room, you know, a floor below me. Immediately he moved in. I went there. I even did a video. I said, look, if you can't afford me, come to him.
Wow.
Come to me. Come to him. Right? Few months later, he moved from one room in the same building, because it's like each building is 5 bedroom, but there are like 10 units of that. He then moved to one that 2 of them were sharing the entire 5 bedroom. Few months later, he took the next entire floor, just like I had. I was at the last floor, he was at the next floor after mine. The same business. Right? So, when I see people envious of me, I get frustrated, because if you really come to me and say, I want to learn, I will teach you. There's no, you know, you should be angry with somebody who doesn't want to show you the secret. But for me, I will show you. Maths, I want it to be win-win. I don't want it to be parasite to me. You can't just come, show me, and then there's nothing in it. Either you pay for it or you serve for it. Right? Those are my rules. But I am definitely excited, you know, to share what I know. And that was the reason why I decided to write the book. The goal is to say, let me share what I'm doing in America, right? Step by step, how we're doing it. And then it's up to you if you also want to do the same. It's not a secret anymore. And hopefully it will also reduce the negative envy, because we are going far, right? Like I said, we have just started and we're going really far, and I'm prepared. One of the things, when I brought Dr. Cosmos Maduka in August, was it August? You know, and we taught everything, and he was here as well, and he prayed, and we're home having lunch, and he said to me, he said, get ready, at some point FBI will come for you. I said, but trust me, I beat them for 2 years. They came after me in the 80s. I got a good legal team. In 2 years, I won. In fact, they begged me not to take it to court. Said, but be prepared. Right? So, the truth is, a lot of us, I hope we're hearing this.
Yeah.
The reason why we have failed, in coming together like the Indians, like the Pakistanis, like the Asians, like the Jews, right, is, first of all, we practice what we call the crab mentality. When somebody rises, what do? We pull him down. Okay? We start pulling everybody down. And it's a culture. We enjoy it. We have enough critical mass, right, to make that happen. The second thing that happened to many of us, we were not prepared for the pulling down phase. Am I making sense to talk? Yeah. So many don't network upward to have mentors who will prepare your mind. Why do you think I brought Dr. Cosmos? That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted him to see what I'm doing and be able to tell me what to expect.
Anticipate.
What to anticipate before it happens. Because many of us just think that, I have clear conscience, I have integrity, I don't wish anybody harm, everything will always work. That's not how it works. Somebody will come after you at some point because you are taking somebody's market share. You are just even irritating somebody somewhere, right? So unfortunately for many of us, we didn't network with mentors. Bishop Oyedepo sat me down for over an hour 2 months ago and was just breaking down some things for me. Breaking down. It's like, wow. Right? I say, okay. These people are cooking me up. Right? So when I see some things, I'm just smiling like, well, we've been told. We've been told this will happen. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So, the first chapter, we focused more on, that's for the America, we focused more on asset classes in the US. And then chapter 2, we looked at the basics of real estate, land banking, basically, understanding land banking. And let me start by saying that a lot of people still don't know that the foundation for real estate is not the house, it's the land. Okay? And that's the foundation. By the time you are moving to land, to housing, a good number of the money has been taken. Let me be honest with you. A good number of the money has been taken. For example, somebody is in charge of the mud in this area and is collecting mud tax. So for all the waste, he's making money because he built the structure for the water, for the sewage, for everything. And he's collecting money. But you can't even understand all that if you don't start with the land. You can't understand. Now, the biggest place to make profit in real estate, guess where? Is land. By the time you build a house, there's a limit to how much you can add to the house. Because when you want to buy a house, are you not comparing? Okay, 10 radius, to this place. Now you check how much are they selling their own house, how much. So if anything is 20, 50,000 above, you're not going to sell it. I don't know, am I making sense at all? Yes. So the larger margin is when you buy the land, because you can buy the land for peanuts, but guess what, by the time you put the house on it, you are selling it literally at the price of those who have, and because your own house is even new, it then even goes higher than those whose house is already 20 years old, 30 years old as at the time they are selling it. Is this making sense at all? So the foundation for real estate globally is land banking. And if you can just understand how land banking works in this part of the world, and there's no better place to do land banking than America. And I will say why. Why is because in America there's data. In developed parts of the world, there's no data. So by the time you're doing land banking, it's just assumption. We think maybe Moe will do well. and we think maybe Bejuleki has future. You know, it's just an assumption. But in the US, there is data to tell you where development is moving. There's data to tell you that in the next few years, this is where, this is even the intention of this particular city. They want to become industrial. They want to become tech. So you can go and position on time. For example, our Brookshire, the entire Brookshire is going to be more commercial than Katy. Okay? Now, what does that do? It creates deficits in residential. So, by putting residential in Brookshire, I will make probably more money than even probably Katy. Because there's too much competition of more houses around Katy. Katy is very much residential neighborhood in a way. There are not too many industrial, projects. I'm not making sense at all. Right? So, when it comes to a land banking, it's really good to understand, and I shared a lot of secrets about land banking in the book, particularly when it comes to America. And I want to encourage you. You don't need to start as big as I am. Right? 1 acre, in a place that has a long-term development, secure it. One plot, even if you can't do 1 acre. Right? And as a company, we're going to be pushing a lot of lands. A lot of lands, because the proof God has blessed you, for those of us who are religious, is that God will give you land. Right? God will give you land. That's the proof. Land is the proof, because the owner of the land determines the religion of the land, determines the law of the land, determines the culture. In your house, who determines the law? You determine the law. So, the owner of the land determines what happened. For example, if all of you here now were born in the Middle East, you can't tell me you'll be a Christian. It won't happen. Just by the virtue of being born in the Middle East. Am I making sense at all? If your ancestors were to have been Hausas, there is a higher chance, at least 70% chance, that you will have also been a Muslim. So the owner of the land determines the religion, determines the law. That's why there are only three people called Lord. Right? God, a judge, and a landlord. Wow. Right? Owner of a land. Right? Because you are really the Lord. You are the Lord. So, in chapter 3, we looked at 3 capital financing choices. How do you get funding? A lot of us make this funding thing look ridiculous. And I cannot blame us, because many of us, when we come to funding, the first angle we worked on was building our personal credit and not our corporate credit.
That's right.
You will be shocked to know that till today, I just even got a social security and landed projects alone that we have already committed to. Lands alone is in excess of, I think, about 30 million.
Because of corporate credit.
Because of corporate.
Yeah.
Right? So, and corporate doesn't look at your background. Am I making sense at all? I hope we are getting powerful secrets here.
Yes.
Right? Because we all started, and we have this mindset that, don't worry, Dr. Stevie, you see, it's personal credit. If your credit is bad in this country, you are done for. I was sharing the same thing with somebody in the UK. She wanted to buy a property, and she said they didn't sell the property to her. They said she needed to be in the UK for, maybe 3 years and all of that. And I said to her, why didn't you register a company? Right? And then apply to buy the house in the company name. Said, oh, I could do that. Yeah. So will I have qualified? I said, more than qualified. Day one. Highest they probably will ask for history of any other thing you've done outside of the UK. Highest. Are we learning here? Yeah. So every one of us can do big scale projects in real estate as long as you think what? Corporate. There's a limit once you go too much personal. My own personal credit, my own personal this, my own personal that.
That's right.
Make sense at all?
Yes.
Right? So in the book we talked about the various options in raising capital. Syndication, for example, is what the Jews used to control America today. If we can put our phones on silent. Right? The Jews don't have the history of being rich when they moved to America. Remember, many of them were even fleeing from war, Second World War. Right? So it wasn't about personal wealth that got the American Jews to control American economy. What they use is called syndication. Right? It's syndication. And it simply means, another word for syndication is called crowdfunding.
That's right.
Right? Let everybody bring our resources together and we set up one person. And then we move to the second, and we move to the third, and we move to the fourth. A matter of time, we'll build something massive. Massive. When you look at what the Indians, one of my partner here in the US is an Indian man. And you know how I did a deal with him, $3.3 million. And so the day I was visiting the property, you unassuming, you will not believe he owns that kind of thing. So she said, oh, my house is not too far. If you don't mind, you can visit. I said, why not? Me, I have learned over the years, when people say, come to my house, yeah, it's a humble pride. Eh? And they are subtle about it. Oh, you can just take tea. I say, I will follow you. Okay? Only for us to get to the house. It's an amusement park. Water park. Because it's over 25 acres. One man. One man. So after taking tea, at that point, you are becoming humbler. Right? The 3.3 you did with him, you know how you just say, come on. you know, sometimes you do certain big business with people and you feel good with yourself. But when they show you certain things, your wins will start coming. So I said, well, I still have some other projects I could show you around. Houston, there's opportunity. I said, of course, let's go. Guys, in 2 hours, this man showed me over $200 million project he owns. And guess what happened to me? Can anybody guess? I was angry with everyone who had gossiped about me, telling me I was thinking too big. I was too angry. But there's somebody who is doing it. So why did somebody feel I was attempting too big? Right? Because he doesn't have two heads. He's an immigrant like me. Because I had to ask him, he's an Indian. When did you move to America? He shared corporate America for many, many years. He didn't even start until virtually I started business before the man. And he's built something this huge. But guess where his funding comes from?
Outsourcing.
Outsourcing, but from his church. His
Temple.
He's always in the temple. Right? The people in the temple, they discuss, they come together, they say, oh, we trust you. Boom. And you know what got me more angry? There are just 70 of them.
Oh my God.
70 of them. And this man controls almost $1 billion worth of real estate asset. Yeah. Man of God. You need to teach me how to dress young. Eh? Are we together now?
Yes.
Just 70 people, guys. 70 people. And this guy has used 70 people to control almost $1 billion worth of real estate asset in this Texas. So when I was done with that talk, I was angry. I know. Our people must get sense by force. Because if that man were to be a Nigerian, you know what will have happened? Right? You know what will have happened? You know how everybody will have been gossiping. One, you are not willing to partner with the guy, but yet you still gossip. Right? You will still be behind talking and talking. One of my friends, who is also a client, I mean, we've known each other from university days, and he was sharing with me, he said that one of his friends called him and said, I'm close to that Katie, I'm even close to his office in Katie. And I've seen some of those projects, I know those places, but where did he get the money? Where did he get, you know, I've seen you and him, you should know. Is it possible for anybody to just move to Texas and then acquire 99 car, start doing all of these things? Where did the tell us? Are you sure it's not money laundering? Right? So I decided to write this book so that people know the secret is there. There's nothing secret about anything. The secret is just that we are bold. Tell your neighbor, be bold. Be bold. We are bold. That's all. We are bold. What's the worst that will happen? We will fail. Then we'll try it again.
Yes.
Then we'll fail. Then we'll try it again. Then we'll fail. We'll try it again. Then we'll get it.
Yeah.
Then we'll get it. What did Donald Trump have to become the president?
Boldness.
That's all. What's the worst that will happen? Okay, if I did not even attempt to go again, they probably will still lock me in jail. No be so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, talk to me.
Yes.
But if I attempt it, maybe I will win.
Yeah.
Maybe. But let's go. And the rest is history.
Oh, sure.
I know we Nigerians don't like him because either your cousin will be affected. Or
No judgment zone.
either you or your cousin or someone is probably going to be deported. So I get it. Trust me. I remember my neighbor, because I live, where I live, virtually everybody's Republican. And so I'm the only black. And so my neighbor, my husband said, my husband, funny enough, is a Trump fan. So she wanted to give me all this there, because they all put, they are voting Trump. And I said, you know, I'm black. I said, when my guests come, some of my guests, they just come back. Because of a Trump. No, sir. I said, so, yes, I support Trump. I'm a Trump guy. But most of people like me, most of people like me don't like the guy. So let's not push it too hard. Right? But trust me, I'm Trump. Okay, are we getting value?
Yes.
So in chapter 5, then we look at the US real estate market and investment mindset. So here we took time to say, how do you even have the right mindset for real estate? Right? Because real estate is long term. And for those who are looking at quick fix, right? Who are looking at, shortcuts, you won't go far in real estate. It's long term. Right? Our Brookshire project is project 2030. Right? So it's long term. And you must build the resilience for that long term. Are we together now? If you want it, okay, I jump in. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of our people are not successful in some of these kind of businesses. Because we want it quick. Right? If you study Donald Trump, his real estate journey, you see that many of these casinos, they were long term. Some took 5 years, some took 10 years, but he knew how to stay talking about those projects. Oh, we're changing the skyline of Manhattan. We're doing this. And part of the mindset include talking bold, talking big, and showing up. People won't like it. I mean, a lot of reason why people hate Donald Trump is because for some people, they feel they are doing something bigger than him. Who knows what I'm talking about? But his name is literally synonymous to the whole of New York at some point. Who knows what I'm talking about? Meanwhile, there are bigger players than Trump in New York. And he literally turned New York like he was his city. But guess what? The man understands branding. You understand, Brandy? How many of you know Dan Foster?
Yeah.
Right? He's late now.
Yeah.
Are you aware he used to be Donald Trump's driver?
Oh, wow.
So I will share with you mindset. We're talking about real estate mindset. So you know, at some point you get close enough and you become friends. So at some point, him and even though he was Donald Trump's driver, they were like, you know, paddy kind of relationship. And one day Trump was telling him, he said, "Do you know why almost every city in this country, right, there's a Trump Tower there, and it's strategic, it's in downtown, and the name boldly written in gold. It's called position." This is the reason why, and by the way, are you aware that not all of those Trump Tower is owned by him?
Yes.
Some, they even paid him to use his name there.
Yeah.
I hope we know.
Yeah.
They paid him just to put that name, Trump Tower. Okay? But it was strategic positioning. So what am I trying to say? If you carry the humility, and I call it fake humility, that has been given to us from Africa, keep quiet. Don't talk too big. Don't show off. Right? Don't share. Right? Don't tell anybody your dream because they will come after you. Huh? They will press you in the night. You know, meanwhile, one of my arguments is that if Joseph did not, and some pastors have also created those nonsense for us.
That's right.
If Joseph did not share his dream, will he have ever become a prime minister?
Never.
Somebody help me.
Never.
If he did not enter pit, will he have been a slave? Without slave, will he have been in prison? Without prison, will he have been prime minister? No! So let your mouth put you into trouble that will push you to greatness. I shared something I was discussing with the two of you this morning. If you check my Instagram, my New Year message, me and my wife, at some point, I then said, I also want to thank all my enemies because my enemies increased in 2025. You know, my wife was still okay at that point, but when I said, may they increase in 2024, may they increase in 2025, I said, and what Bishop Oyedepo has told me is this, that you see, your enemies must conspire to push you to greatness. Are you aware that some people have moved to greatness because the enemies were gossiping about them in front of the person who eventually became their helper? And there was no way the helper would have heard of their name.
Free publicity.
If not for that gossip. There's no way. Like, the person who eventually helped them will not in any way have heard of them. If not for that gossip. Let me say this and let me say it well. Those at the top, really at the top, admire those facing fire. Dr. Cosmo was sharing, he said, when I heard that Alain Onyema, FBI is after him, I called him. I said, well, Alain, young man, welcome to baptism of fire. 1980, FBI came after me. I got a good lawyer. 2 years I won. So get a good lawyer. You know, I wish you all the best. Now, people who are not near customs, what are they doing? I'm fighting. I'm with Alain. FBI. If you don't take picture with Alain, FBI feed them. Am I making sense at all? So some of us waste our time and energy with the wrong set of people. These are people who can't even help you in the first place. Meanwhile, those who are really big, when they hear you are in fire, they call you. A young man, who are you? You've been there. Yeah, do 3 things. Am I making sense at all? Right? That's what they do. There are 2 ways great people help you. Either you are succeeding or you are touching certain big things. They sit you down. So Oyedepo sat me down for over an hour and was schooling me for the new level. Expect this, correct this, change this. Over an hour. right? Or when you run into trouble, they'll call you and say, hey, cheer up. It's a face. It's just a sign that you're not big. Am I making sense to talk? It's a sign that you're what? You're not big. I was discussing with one of my mentors. I said, why am I hearing my story everywhere? He said, welcome to the next phase. You're not big. You're what talking about? Are you not happy? Are you not happy? That you are worth somebody's time to analyze and dissect. If you don't have anything tangible to do, they won't even waste their time on you. They won't even talk, whether good or bad. They're not worth it. Okay? So, real estate mindset. If you want to do real estate big time, you must have the right mindset. First of all, from position, yeah? Oh, the online people. Right? Starting from how you position yourself. Are we together now? Making sure you position yourself to be visible. Because ultimately, one of the mindset I talked about is that every real estate giant use OPM. It's ultimately other people's money. And other people's money will never come to you in secrecy, in silence, in hiding. You have to be out there. Am I making sense at all? So, of course, those who don't get it will talk and they will just be marketing you. But you need other people's money. And for other people's money to come, you have to be out there. So sometimes even those gossiping you, we just keep helping more people to know that you exist. And that's it. Okay? Chapter 6, we look at the secret of real estate riches and we focus more on locations. How do you dissect the right location? How do you position, right, for the next wave? The biggest in Nigeria, for example, of our real estate asset is in Ibeju-Lekki. And the reason was because I positioned for Ibeju-Lekki when I heard of Dangote Refinery. The project hasn't gone far when we started trying to get land. The first land, I lost money. The second one, I lost money. Third, I lost money. At some point, I lost about 200 million, including investors' money. I'll never forget calling those investors one by one and begging them. About 10 I had gotten that time. I said, I'm sorry. I lost all your money. You know, I said, but give me time. I will pay you the returns and I will pay you back the capital. Right? I want to get, come in. You can have your seat. You can register, put down your name and then have your seat. Are we together? Yeah. And what gave me joy was that, because this happened, I think, between 2016 and 2017. By the end of 2018, I had paid all of them. Money from coaching, money from, I should have paid them. And guess what? When we relaunched our investment, right, I was wiser. And some of those people were the first to say, this man has integrity. He has integrity. He lost the money. He told us he lost it. And we knew he lost it. But he paid us back. Paid us back. Today, you'll be glad to know we've paid over $1 million to different investors of our syndication. Paid, not that we'll pay, as returns. I thought you would clap. Right? So when some people don't like me, some people like me because I've made them rich. And those ones I've made rich are praying. How many of you agree with me? Yeah. Occasionally I get my top client reaching out to tell me that, Dr. Stephen, don't worry, we are praying. Anybody we have added them to our prayers. Because you must leave. You are the cash cow. Right? You are the cash cow. Are we getting value? Yeah. Come on, are we getting value? Yeah. Chapter 7, American real estate business. We looked at it as a business. Chapter 8, how to start real estate development in America. Because real estate development is another thing. We looked at the metrics on the phases of real estate. What's the first phase, what's the second phase, what's the next phase. For example, who can guess what phase of real estate development are we now in our US operations? Anyone? Randomly guess. What phase? Real estate. Madam, you're looking at you were in my class now. By the way, we have a real estate investment masterclass today, starting today, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and tomorrow as well, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. I normally break down the 7 ways to make money in real estate. It's one of my best classes if you can. It's paid, but trust me, it's one of the best foundation you need in real estate. But anybody want to guess?
Land bank.
Foundational steps.
Please clap for you. You got it right. Okay? In the metrics, there are about over 5 phases, right? The first phase is land banking, then we go to land development, then we go to building development, and land packaging, then building development. You know, so there's a whole phase to it. That's why I said real estate is long term. It's not a short term thing, right? So we are still in the land banking phase. We're acquiring more land, getting more land. You know, heavily doing that for the next 2 years. Heavily doing that. This year is still going to be a bit tough, and it's still the best time. Are you aware in one of the land we acquired in Richmond, we got $1 million discount? There's no way we would have gotten that if the economy was good. So I always go into a market when there's blood on the street. I will never enter a market when it's good. Right? Because what happens when you go when the economy is bad, what happens? You get things cheaper. Get things cheaper. You buy land cheaper, you get all manner. All manner. I say I had one of my clients, you know, about $3 million is due. I'm supposed to pay that end of January. I had a meeting with him in this office. I said, look, I can't meet up that January deadline. Okay? He said, how much do you need? He said, let's look at April. He said, you have it. If the economy is good, okay, don't push me, come on. Am I making sense at all? So there is that understanding we must bring to the market to understand the phases to it. Chapter 9, how to make your first $1 million in US. Chapter 10, how to build wealth in America. Chapter 11, use real estate how USA real estate market, how to make good money. Chapter 12, how to start fix and flip business in real estate. And then we have bonus chapters. We looked at practical real estate in US, particularly Houston, Texas. We look at testimonies from some of our investors about the book and about the author. How many of you think this is a good book worth reading?
Absolutely.
So, I want to ask for a favor. I want you to buy more than a copy, so that anytime somebody is gossiping about me in your presence, just say, you know what? You know, the guy has put the thing in the book. Everything is doing. Go and read it. And then let's do the gossip after you are done with the book. Any question on the first book? And then I explain the second, then we'll take question. Right? Any question on the ABCs of real estate investment in America? Any question? No question. By the way, let me celebrate my very good friend, Apostle Promise Adeyemi. You know, the only fine boy apostle me I know. You know, Gen Z, dressing, even though he's almost 50. You know, and he has refused to show me how to dress in this. Please let me celebrate you one more time. Thank you for coming. I hope you will pray with us when it's time to dedicate the book, right? Okay. So the next book is called The Global Real Estate Investment Handbook. And this one focused majorly on the entire globe. We looked at 4 continents, Middle East, which is Dubai, which you know we operate there big time. Have Dubai is very, if we are not moved to Dubai, we will not be in the US. Right? A lot of what I learned from both the success and failure of Dubai gave me the boldness for what we're doing in the US. You can't do real estate in Dubai and not be bold. Because I have seen us sell an entire tower of 2,000 units and we didn't see the land. And construction has not started. And it's sold out in 1 hour. Yes. Welcome to Dubai. Yeah. So when and Dubai really taught me a lot about understanding that indeed real scaling in real estate is OPM. Is OPM. And however you will do it, figure out a way to convince people to give you money before you start anything. That's what Dubai taught me. Because if you don't do that, you won't scale. Today now, it's believed that over $40 billion worth of Bitcoins in Dubai as we speak. And it's the same concept. Watch out that country. Right? They have learned how to sell vision. Sell vision. Just sell vision. Just sell the image, the perception, the concept. Just sell it. Now, did people doubt Dubai? Yes, they did. In fact, there was a time where the rest of the world were calling even Sheikh a scammer. The Sheikh of Dubai. That most of what he was talking about, no country has done it. Nobody has moved from third world, right, to first world in a century, in a 100-year span. He's done it in less than 50.
Yeah.
Right? So nobody has ever done it. So when he was talking about that vision, how many of you saw the first video that he did where Burj Khalifa is and Dubai Mall? You saw the video. That place was a military camp. So it was a whole desert. They don't put military camp in city center. And he relocated the military camp and then took this white journalist and said, so we're going to put something unique here. You know, when we put it, it will start attracting. Then this place will turn to downtown. I mean, you think the man is mad. And this guy is mad. Right? Because desert, this is desert. Okay? Can't you see it's desert? And then you are talking, the whole world will come. As the world not come. The world has come. So that for me is part of why I added Middle East. But you can't really begin to talk about. I hope we all know now that Dubai has better skyscrapers than US.
Sure.
Right? Better skyscrapers now than US. And if they continue like this, well, US has to run. Right? So we also then looked at Africa, which we're also big in Africa. Then we looked at Europe, which is UK. And then we looked at America real estate. So we call it a humble because it's like something that just helps you. It's almost like you're in a school, right? And it just helps you to begin to know step by step how do you go about it. So let me go on the various chapter by chapters or major highlights in the book. So we looked at introduction to real estate. Under that, we looked at what is real estate, giving the good foundation, scope of real estate investment. Somebody is asking online, how do you buy the book? I think it should be on Amazon now. I'm not sure. But I guess it should be on Amazon. If you don't see it on Amazon, you can check on, send me a DM. My team will reply you on how you can get the book. Okay, just send me a DM and the team will reply you on how to get the book. So also we're setting up, are you happy to know we're starting a food bank in Nigeria? Who is happy to know that? It's on Amazon. Right, we're starting a food bank in Nigeria and then we're starting one also here in Houston. Who is happy to know that? And I hope when we launch, many of you volunteer, want to provide food and support for our community. I have a mindset to business. Anywhere we try to expand we want to give back to the community and add value. And I feel food bank is very, very critical to that. We're starting the one in Nigeria first. We've gotten the location. We're leasing it for now. But we're targeting on my birthday will be the first project we'll do. And then before the end of 2025, we'll open the one here in Houston as well. I should be checking next couple of days some locations here we're proposing for the food bank to see if we can buy it here as well. So what I've decided to do is that the proceed from this book, the 2 book, goes towards the food bank. Are we glad to know that? So we're not directly kind of selling it. We're kind of make a donation of minimum of a particular amount, and then either for soft copy or physical copy, and then you have it, and all that money goes towards the food bank. Of course, we are conscious of the fact that setting up a food bank, $100 here, $50 here, will still not be enough. But it's intentional. We know that when we tell you to buy the book, that the donation goes towards the food bank. Number one, your mind is now thinking of a food bank. And a food bank requires continuous support because we need to keep stocking the place with food for it to be effective. Am I making sense at all? So it's not what we are hoping to get is a support beyond just now that you're buying the book. Is that it's in your subconscious that we're setting up a food bank. When you visit Nigeria, you want to go there, you want to help out, either donating food or serving people there. When we open the one here as well, you can say once a month, you will come to the food bank, volunteer, make donations, and make it work. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, scope of real estate investment, approach to real estate investment, benefits of real estate investment, importance of real estate in the global economy. And then number 3 in the introduction is current trends and market dynamics. So why I love this particular book is that we didn't just look at real estate as a business. We looked at real estate as a tool for investment, right? How do you build wealth legitimately through real estate? I remember when I hosted my older brother for podcast. I don't know if some of you watched that because that part also I think trended a bit, and he was reminding everyone his decision, which myself and my older brother have the same mindset, and he's also a multi-billionaire, very successful. And where we thinking back to when we both made up our mind that if there is ever a legitimate way to make money, we're going to make it. We're going to be extremely rich. And what got us to that point? Right? And guess what? For both of us, my dad was the reason. Right? In a negative way, but we turned it positive. Right? So in his own case, he was, while he was in university, same with me, we didn't like going home. Because what we saw at home just wasn't encouraging. And this time around, the same thing. But typically when he needs to collect money, because there's no phone, remember, unlike now there's phone you can call. You have to go home and collect the cash and all those stuff. And he got home, and as soon as he entered, my dad started yelling. He has come to collect the money at home again. He has come to, I've not fixed my car. Because my mother was the breadwinner. And that's why even in our organization today, we're very pro-women. We support women a lot. Because I keep asking myself, my mother didn't have the civil service job. Where will I be today? Right? And he was complaining as if that wasn't his first child. Right? So, for me, he said, he remember going back to school and was almost crying. I said, I vow. You know how you are vowing? That if there's any legitimate way to be wealthy, I will be. So, till tomorrow, for me, when people look at why am I this hungry, right? My father made it very early when he was younger. But I think at some point he got complacent. He's still one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever seen. And my mind keeps telling me I must not repeat of of my father, I must keep running. I must keep running. Because he was a building contractor in the northern part of Nigeria. In those days, the people from the southern part of Nigeria were the intellectuals, they were the educated ones. They were the ones that could do business, do construction. But gradually, the northerners started learning how to do their construction and stopped giving contracts to southerners. And that's how he lost out. So I grew up meeting a father who wasn't responsible for the family. He was a preacher, CNS in those days. And it's still the reason my brother refused to. There's been chance to make him a pastor, he refused. I somehow was forced to becoming a pastor, but at some point, at some point I had to focus more on business. Okay, than pastoring, yes. Because at some point I was very active in pastoring in Winners Chapel, but poverty was also knocking at my door. small. I was not repeat what happened to my father. I had to hand over the zone I was pastoring, hand over everything and focus fully on business. And today I'm happy that I'm still able to support the work of ministry. Who knows what I'm talking about? And we need more people who can support work of ministry. Who agrees with me? Right? We need more, particularly in the end time. Is money from business that you use to defend your faith. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? So next we looked at globalization effects, technological advancement, sustainable green estate. Now, I may not have informed you, our goal is to build green and smart homes, not just normal kind of houses. We try to always build houses that are using solar, automated voice control, recycling waste. All those things are what we try to do. And here in the US as well, that is the goal for our work. And we talked about the effects of that and the benefits of that. Demographic shift, economic and political factors, because you have to understand that politics affects real estate. Are you aware that I expanded to US because I knew Donald Trump was going to win? Right? And I knew that 4 years was going to be pro-business. Right? Particularly real estate business. So you watch out from 2026, the interest rate is going to come down. Right? Real estate is going to go. Prices of real estate will probably go as high. So if you want to really buy real estate, buy it now. Buy it now, because in the next few years, the prices wouldn't even make sense, because it was just going to go really, really high. Okay? But it was a political evolution of America that I projected. I could have been wrong, I hope you know. Okay? It was possible that Donald Trump could have lost, and then I licked my wound and still figure out a way to evolve around it, right? But for me, it was part of the calculation, right? That if Trump could only win, right, I would say I have 1 more year to also buy. So last year was acquisition. This year is still acquisition of more lights, right? And then 2026 is now building and selling and making as much profit as you can. Is it making sense? Challenges and considerations. So we looked at, we must be honest with you guys, there's a lot of challenges to real estate. It's not one of those easy businesses. Anything can shake you. I'll give you an example. In our Nigerian business, last year was a very humbling year. By the way, we arranged food for everyone, so please don't be in a hurry to leave. Last year was a very tough year for our real estate business. We had started expansion here in the US, hoping that our investors in Nigeria were going to be able to invest in what we're doing in the US. Also, our Nigerian business and Dubai business was also going to be able to support, particularly the Nigerian business. Only for us to move from, is it 500 naira to $1? Right? So at some point, when we had committed to some of the properties here, we had moved in the Naira equivalent, but guess what? We're 40% of what is required. I don't know that you understand. So, for example, for $1 million to move here, we are targeted 500 million converts. We have $1 million, right? So now you move 500 million, and guess what you had? About $200,000 or 200 and something. So that was one major thing we didn't plan for, setback big time. Another setback was also our customers. You know, as I speak to you, people are owing us billions in our Nigerian operations. Billions. In fact, I don't know how many of you saw it. We had to do a press conference. Do you see it? To say, look, we are buying back the land. Right? There's no point deceiving ourselves. If you cannot finish your payment by January 15th, right, you don't have land with us again. And of course, by the way, be ready. People will carry my name up and down. I'm used to it. I hope you get used to it if you like me. Because if you don't like me, you can join them as well to talk properly. But you must understand that when it comes to business, there will be what? Challenges. Right? And you better prepare for them. Particularly real estate. So we then did a worksheet for chapter 1. So we make sure that where you can checklist actions. That's why we call it a handbook. So you're able to, literally it's like you're in a class and you have activities around it. So I really love the book. Chapter 2, we looked at my biggest secrets to success. Number 1, power of relationship. But I want to say this. Please, everybody hear this. Under my secret to success, power of relationship with people that matter.
That's it.
Right? And people that matter are not always rich.
Yes.
So don't get it twisted.
That's true.
Don't get it twisted. People that matter, sometimes they matter financially. Sometimes they matter in terms of political power and influence. Sometimes they matter in terms of strategy, in terms of media backup, counsel, spirituality, right? Like Apostle here, right? So you must understand the place of those kind of relationships, because sometimes our mind is just money. Some people, what they will give you is more than money.
And sometimes they matter with people they know.
Exactly.
Yeah, the second degree or third degree connection.
Sometimes, let me give you an example. Some rubbish did not touch me in Nigeria because of some people see me with. It didn't even touch me. People only say it. Right? Someone was sharing with me, one of my colleagues in real estate said, those people in government, they respect you. So when they demolish our estate, they don't demolish your own. I just laugh. Right? By just associating with certain people, some people just leave you. They think twice.
Yeah.
Am I making sense at all? Before. So when we say power of relationship that has helped me, it wasn't always about money. There are people who are richer than I do. And I'm saying richer, and I keep giving them money. Dr. Cosmo shared in one of the podcasts I host him. So when I started giving money, I was like, what's this guy up to? But it was what opened the door to him. His PA sent me a message 2 weeks ago. He said, aside these two people, you are the only person in 40 years. His PA has been with him for 40 years. That is not around Dr. Cosmos for gold digging. Say in 40 years. So I just saw the gift you brought. Right? So sometimes, I hope we're learning here. Because if we don't get it right, some people that, in fact, Dr. Cosmos put it this way, he said, if a rich man wants to cheat you, he will give you money. Right? He gives you money so that you can go and you leave him alone. Yeah. And he's not able to really dissect his secret to you. So when you meet really successful people, Am I making sense at all? I don't care how rich they are. If I meet Elon Musk today, God knows, the last thing that will come to my mind is that Elon Musk should fund me. And it's not because I don't need money.
Yeah.
But that's the last thing. If I can just know what Elon Musk know, or how he source for fund, leave me with it. I'm a young man, my brain works. I will replicate the same. But to think that my purpose of getting close to Elon Musk, and I've built relationship that, it took them 3 years to become comfortable with me. Because they were like, what's he after? This guy is after something. He, like all of them, he will soon come and beg for money. Right? In fact, one was so shocked. I went to his house, massive house. And people go to these people's houses in Banana Island, very huge. And you are thinking of, so they are even this rich. What can they do? And I was thinking of what is not yet in the house. And I noticed there was no big portrait. I told her, why don't you have portraits? This. I said, I'm organizing a photo shoot. When are you available? Can we do tomorrow? I now started chasing them for photo shoot. Right? Eventually we did the photo shoot, we did the portrait. I didn't know why they were reluctant to do the photo shoot. So after we did the massive portrait, they loved it. The wife now called me and said, so how much is our money? They thought it was a business. So when I now said, no, it's a gift. Gift? How? They were shocked. Exceptionally shocked. Because they are not used to it. People from our culture don't give rich people money, they collect. There is a hidden agenda. The day they start getting close to a rich person, there is already an agenda. What can I get? What can come? And so it's always a strategy. Always a strategy. Are we learning here?
Yes.
So please, can I give us an assignment if you don't mind? 7 multi-millionaire in Houston in the next 3 months that you'll be their friend. Yes, let me tell you this secret. If you want to be a friend of somebody way richer than you, you have to swallow your pride. Because they will shakara you for a while. All the ones I know did the same. You know why? Not because they're arrogant. They are not sure of your motive. And people have done them shaggy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. People have done all manner. So they will first look as if they are dodging you, but you go closer. Build the relationship. Right? Ask to come to their house. Right? Bring gifts. Ask to follow them to golf course. Ask to help them with whatever you can help them with. Right? But 7. Who wants to do that? 7. Right? The assignment I gave my team, my mentees, is 20x. 20x. People who are 20 times richer than you. 7 of them this year. Who will do it? You try? You try? So the beginning is make a list. Let's make a list. That's the beginning. Make a list. When you are done with your list, the next thing is now, how do I penetrate? This strategical. This is you plan it like what?
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Would that be a form of skimming?
No.
That's what it is, really. Isn't
It's
it?
not.
Because about my type.
It's scheming, but not negative. Yeah, it's scheming, not negative. And they will know. They will know. Dr. Cosmos knew what I did to get his attention. He said it to him. So you think they don't know? They know, but they're happy that you did yours, because some other people have done scheming only for stealing from them, only from extorting, only from, do you get it now? So they're happy with your kind of scheming, but it will take them some years to know that you are genuine. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? And that's what I'm preparing you for. Because it will take some years. Yinka is here. I've known her for over 10 years now, over 12 years. She's like, she's practically a sister to me. Right? But it's taking years. Right? That today, she's director. If I'm to start a company and to do anything, I don't think twice to put her name as a director. I don't think, am I making sense? I don't even, right? But there has been years of seeing the intentions, the motives. Are we learning at all? So what I'm preparing you for is that the you that maybe people always try to be your friend, and you are even the one saying, you know, I'm busy. You have to be comfortable to be the one chasing other people. I hope this makes sense at all. And you see them make certain things that make you feel like, what's the big deal, sir? You get that experience. But after a while, I promise you, best relationship of your life. My first billionaire friend, today we are colleague billionaires, right? It was on my podcast recently and we got talking about the journey. Okay? But best of friends. In fact, he chairs one of our companies today. Best of friends. And he knows what I did. So it wasn't, but the point is, I had to build that. It was tough at the beginning, right? Of trying to build that relationship with him. But today we are really cool. Because both of us know we are not after playing what we will get from each other. We are looking for win-win relationship. You win, I win. So it just makes everybody calm, cool, and collected. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll start with 7, right? At least start with the wealthiest ones. Later, like I told you, it's more sophisticated than that, right? Some is not about money. It's about strategy. It's about where they are going. It's about, and that's what Elon Musk did with Trump. I hope you know. He aligned to Trump on time. It was an investment. I hope you know. Over $100 million. First of all, he has made his money back anyway. But second of all, is some people call him the president and Trump vice president. But either way, the people who run America now, Elon Musk is there. Right? Whether you like it or yes. But that is a strategic move. Right? It was a strategic move. And we Christians need to learn this. You know, you say he's skinny, he's a kinikon, and a Christian. Well, continue.
Yeah, but the thing of Sheba went to
Exactly. Ruth and Boaz. Ruth and Boaz was practical, skinny. And our Lord Jesus Christ wouldn't have come out without the Ruth and Boaz. Pastor, Apostle, sorry we are diving into your territory. Are we permitted?
See, that question is very important.
Yes.
Especially in our community. I ask because, sometimes when it comes to information, we don't talk in depth about what a particular thing that we're talking about means. And I had to say that because I'm well aware that there's a positive aspect to skimming, and there's also a negative aspect. And that will ultimately let you know what the motive of someone really is. Because you have to be able to spell it out, essentially.
Whether we like it or not, we skim. Our children skim.
I think
You say when you start using the word manipulation,
you raise it as important point when you were doing your introduction.
Exactly, yeah.
You use the word righteous and legal.
it's a gentleman, and that's why.
So if it hits the bucket of righteous and legal, then that's fine.
Exactly.
I personally, as a communications trainer, I won't use the word scheming.
Yes,
Or
I
even
would.
manipulation. That's I would use the word being strategic.
Yes.
Strategy means that it's not sentimental, it's intentional, it's planned. So it's strategic. So we just have to be strategic. And there are many righteous and legal examples in the Bible. Sheba was very wealthy, but had to go and almost caught the affection of King Solomon. There are so many examples. So just to let you know that we can still do right within the parameters of what is acceptable and righteous and legal. And we won't be the first. Bank of America funded Disneyland years ago when no one would touch Disney. Years ago, and Bank of America saw that America was going to be an immigrant country. It used to be Bank of Italy. So they were the very first bank that started lending to immigrants. Maybe that's why they're still one of the top 3. So it was a strategy. They looked at the way this thing was going. And they said, these people will be here for a long time. They're not going anywhere. So there are certain moves that are very strategic. And now everybody is now doing diversity. They started diversity before it was diversity. So
Beautiful, yes.
Yeah, I feel your intention will determine how that person look at you in the first place.
Yes.
They know where you're coming from, and they will definitely know what you really have in mind. They will not tell you, they want you to do that like 2, 3, 4 times. They are still learning to know about you. But if you have a good intention, it won't come as a form of scheme.
Yes.
It will come, they will see it as a strategy, as he has said. And they just want to know, they want to be sure they are working with the right person. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Just to handle it.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that even the Bible says that God judges us based on our motives. So, for instance, we already have that the purpose of you, strategically positioning to be friends with that, it's the right motive. So once you have the right motive, I guess God's also going to back you up and give you that opening. Just
Absolutely.
trying to provide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and once again, like Rani said, so I flew in from New Jersey,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Because I know that there's something in this
Yeah,
meeting.
exactly.
You see the apostle at my back.
Yeah.
I knew him and we met the last time 2010.
You can't remember.
But I'm trying to let you understand, when you came into the house right now and you are talking some of the major national projects that we want to do, my younger brother was already saying that, wow, where the right place. Because you need leverage, you need strategy, which is better than energy. And where there's no strategy, there will be tragedy. And
Yes. Answer.
All right, okay. So the first thing I heard you say, morning, sir.
Good morning.
So when I came in was mentor upwards.
Yes.
Right? So my question to you is, before you stand in the face of kings and millionaires, what did you do to prepare yourself? Because you have to have something in you that will,
True.
you can't be an empty barrel.
Yeah.
You know.
Coming to the table.
Yes. So what did you do to prepare yourself for the 7? So what did we do to prepare ourselves
For the 7. Beautiful question.
For the 6, because 1 is you.
Yeah.
That was a
Very, very good question. So I think the first is be a person going somewhere. Right? Be a person going somewhere. Because when I meet you, hear this very well, and I don't know about you, you don't have any results, the only thing you can do for me is to talk with some boldness about where you are going, to a point where I will say to myself, he may not have it, but he's going somewhere, he's determined. It will be an opportunity when this guy is talking about his story 10 years from now, 20 years from now, he's mentioning my name.
Yep.
Am I making sense? So the first thing is, even if you don't have anything, have a beautiful long-term vision, something big. Somebody was sharing this with me. He said, do you know why Bishop Oyedepo is giving you attention? I said, no. He said, if he were not to be a pastor and not to be as old as he is now, what you are doing right now is what he wants to do. So you are daring things in a big way. And I said, yes, that's it. Am I making sense at all? I remember a pastor in Nigeria, I can mention his name, Reverend Victor. We had some meeting last month. And he said, I got to know you, because we met first time 6 years ago, physically. And he said, I got to know you few months before meeting you physically 6 years ago. He said, your words were this big. Your actual size was small. He said, I've watched you close the gap in the last 6 years. Between your words and where you really are, your words as it were. Right? So, but the question is, he still gave the audience, even when the words did not match. Am I making sense? In fact, we use his facility then and all of that. You see where I'm going? So, first thing is, let there be something big. Even if there's, in their mind, there's gap, but let it shall be big. And then not everybody will accept, but some will consider to say, I may be part of this person's journey. The worst thing you want to do is to come and tell me, you see, I'm not sure I'm going far. Even though I have big dream, but you see, America has humbled me. And then begin to talk doubt and doubt and doubt. Don't go there. Talk about the Joseph dream you saw. Right? Start there. I hope I've answered the first question. The second thing is for you to have figured out a problem that you are going to solve in their life. I never say it. I never call it a problem.
Yes.
What do I mean? You don't come to those people you want to build relationship and say, so I notice your clothes are not always ironed. They're always rough. And I've decided I need to, make sure I straighten your clothes for you. Now that's a wrong way to go about it. Does that make sense at all?
Absolutely.
What would be the right way? Get your tailor.
Yes.
And say, sir, this guy sold some of the best suits in the world.
Yes.
Right? If I see his profile, I've asked him to sew some for you. That's a more dignified way. And do it with so much respect. Because it's not as if they can sew for themselves or do tailor for themselves. So, like I said, I wanted to do a portrait for someone in his house now. I had to be begging because, we were busy, we were not sure. They kept changing, but I kept at it. Apparently, what they were thinking is that maybe he's into photography business. The man don't come. You know how it could have. It's later when they were asking me for price, and I knew how it looked to them. Like, you came to our house day one, you're already selling photo shoots, your business to us. Right? But because of the way I pressured them, they just did the photo shoot. But they now respected it when I said, no, it was a gift. Right? It was, you don't need to pay me. Are we learning at all? So come with a value, because what that does is that now they feel they owe you and they feel they want to pay you. And so each time, I remember this story, I'll never forget. This young man, I known him years ago, and on and off, he was my mentee. He used to come to my office way back, and at some point he became very successful and he cut off from me, right? And I was just seeing, how people are doing things, they're all over. I'm like, I'm not sure, because when you know somebody's story, like, this guy, this is the best time you should have come to me, now that he's doing well. Right? Because in fact, the last time I had to tell him I don't want to see you again because he did something. But of course, he didn't come until the thing crashed. He was doing this investment, the whole thing he lost over $1 billion. Ran away, came to meet me in Dubai, was owing house rent, right? Came with his, so yeah, he came first. And then I remember after counseling, how many of you have ever had such? I know was to promise probably will have had such. You finish counseling somebody and you feel so drained. Anybody like that? Like drained, like physically drained. Alright? Empty. Now, what was painful for me was, I was now asking myself, what is in it for me? I couldn't see one thing. One thing. And do you know, even if it was apple the guy had brought, apple, I probably have taken the apple and be eating and say, well, after all, there's an apple. You know how you just feel, I've been used, but is there anything that I can console myself for this level of usury? Now, that is what mentors don't want to have experience. Right? They just, like I said, bring me a venison. That's the whole idea. Right? If something will go out of me, bring something. That's why I never go to any of my mentors without a gift. I don't do it. I don't do it no matter what. I'll bring something. I just hate going there empty. It's not about the volume or anything, but I want to go with something. Right? Sorry, that's my wife. She likes taking pictures. you know, and
Your beautiful
No
bride.
apologies.
and
Dr. Stevie, your beautiful bride.
yes, my one and only, no other. The power of resilience and risk taking. This I want everyone to probably even start with reading this. Right, resilience and risk taking. I remember, you know, one of my partners is here, Mr. Dapo. Wave your hand. The last time, you know, he dropped me home after a negotiation. He said, Dr. Stevie, you have committed murder in this American real estate. So you've gotten away with things that nobody has ever gotten away with. Nobody. I remember some land, I would tell him, let's cut it by 1 million. Sir, they don't negotiate like this in America. This is America. Like this is America. They don't negotiate. Wait, this is not Nigeria. It's in Nigeria that you will negotiate. Then I said, but hey, put it out there. We have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. You have to take risks, guys. And unfortunately, it's not in our DNA as people of color. We don't come with the ability to take risks. It's not there. It's white people that have it. Because of the way they were raised. I saw a picture of a white man throwing his son, small baby, into the pool. And then with something, and then he floated back. He entered really down. And like, there's no African mother that will try this for. There's no African mother. Like, from the top, then throw your baby into the pool. No way. No way. So, by the virtue of how we're raised, we're always scared. We don't want to take risk. We are told to be careful. Even with relationship. Shora, that guy. Hey, it's just the way we are raised. And I want to beg you, if you want to do real estate, you must have boldness. You must be bold. Are you aware that I can't count more than 3 estates in Lagos that I bought that did not put ritual? And I'm not talking that we're winning. We are finished paying. In fact, one, my staff were doing defense. Naked women came with incantation. Moving around, all workers ran. Everybody ran. And then the next morning we got there, we saw all this there, calabash, all this there. Right? And we still use our hand to remove it. You know, we do have some. If you are not using something, you're using for something. I would say everybody is using something. If you are not using something, you're using for something.
If you're not using something, use your mouth. 5G.
Okay?
5G.
So, we removed it. Almost all our estates we removed. In fact, there was one. The guy came, removed youth leader were to launch an estate. They call it Bante, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, brought out the charm and said, nobody will pass here if I say this. And I told her, I said, you and your charm, you enter ground here. You and your charm. Right? When we're done, you know, of course, people gathered, you know, later came and apologized to me. And then we shook hands. The next morning, the hand started swelling up. And I spoke to the hand to come down. And it came down. Right? So if you're not bold, you won't go far. In anything. In anything. To be bold. Yeah. And guess what? You're in the land of the free, the land of the brave. Is that not what they call it? Yeah. And then you want to continue African timidity. No. Tell your neighbor, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Take risk. Take some risk. 2025. Take some risk. Take some risk. Take some bold risk. Right? You can't keep, you know, trying to prevent. I don't want what will happen. Take some risk. Take some risk. Be ready for it. Because if you're going to go far in this business, that's what it takes. Encouragement to embrace resilience. Right? Chapter 2, still talking about my secret. We look at practical tips in real estate, chapter 3, understanding real estate market. So we look at market analysis, fundamental, supply and demand dynamics. We look at market cycle. Real estate actually has an 18-year cycle. We look at local market consideration, think global, act local. I like that. Think global, act local. Right? Economic indicators affecting real estate. Then we look at gross domestic product, the GDP growth, interest rate, inflation, employment rates, consumer confidence. We looked at key economic indicators to watch out for. Real estate market types, developed market, emerging market, frontier market. Okay, and then we have our worksheets. So in this book, after every chapter, there's a worksheet where you now list what to do, action steps, and things like that. Chapter 4, we look at real estate investment strategy, buy and hold, fix and flip strategy, wholesaling, house hacking, real estate syndication. Are you seeing that it's quite detailed, right? So it's not just motivational. There are real raw data, real raw principles to really help. So I want to ask a question. This season in the US, what do? Do you buy and hold, or you fix and flip? Is that? Some say buy and hold, some say fix and flip. So what's your opinion?
I think it's also based on every state is
It's both ways. It's both ways. It depends on location. And currently the economy is getting better as the interest rate is dropping. And definitely you have more buyers out there.
Not really fully yet.
Yeah, not fully in time as it goes. So for you could hold. Yeah, but these are the times to prepare.
Okay, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What I want to say is this. People should just prepare for every period in real estate, in Houston and America in general. Your situation determines whether you buy and hold or you flip right there. There are some people holding right now and they are in debt. And there are some people flipping and making millions. Number one location. If you want to buy in the far north of Houston and you want to hold, you might be there for a very long time, no buyer on the market for 8-10 months. It's something you could have just flip and make your 45-50K, do another deal right there immediately. It depends on the situation and location, what you do.
Beautiful. I mean, you're all correct. I will say that, and I think this is important. What exactly is your strategy from the beginning? Right? From day one. Because your strategy into starting a business is very critical. Are you starting with a long-term view, or from day one you came in to just, and I think this is one of the biggest problems we face in our community. Most of us are hustlers. We are not real long-term entrepreneurs. A real entrepreneur is thinking long-term. Of course, with a strategy to sustain himself in the short term while he's waiting for the big breakthrough. Am I making sense at all? But unfortunately, many of us, when we start business, every time is short term. It's, hit it now, cool, and I think that has made many people not to be able to build real long-term wealth. Because the strategy from day one is just something to hit quick and move, hit quick and move. And because we have that mindset, we are losing a lot. We're leaving a lot of money on the table. A lot of money on the table. Right? There are some projects we are looking at now, and they're telling me, oh, if we do the mod, it probably will cost us another 4 million. I say, let's do it now. Because the strategy from day one is long term. I mean, if you are telling me that I will be getting money from everybody in that area,
Insurance.
right? Because they are using my facility, let's do it. But that's because the mindset is long term to start with. So my advice is always, for any business you are getting into, have your long term, your mid term, and your short term. So there should be something in the short term to sustain you. But that shouldn't be where your breakthrough will come from. It's just to keep body and soul together while we are going towards that big, For me, that's my approach all the time to business. And I want to advise, we'll talk more about this when we start the 2 p.m. class, for those of you who are part of the Real Estate Investment Masterclass, that you will never get here and overcome the survival mode until you have taken care of your personal finance. Can I say that again? You will never, right, get to that place where all your businesses, you are thinking long term until you've taken care of your own personal finance. As long as school fees is still on the way, mortgage is on the way, right, it will cloud your judgment from making long-term decisions. You keep shortcutting, you keep taking the short, end of the stuff because I have to pay this urgent bill. I have to pay that urgent bill. And that's why we all have to restructure our finances this year such that, one, we ourselves are not the liability sucking the business from going far. Right? That there is a discipline required to allow the business grow. Are you aware? I mean, my Nigerian company alone is owing me over $1 billion. Owing me over $1 billion. I've had to, even some money, because I also sell for the company, I'm entitled to commission. Many of it I've had to put it back into the business. But of course, as a loan that they will pay me back, I'm still waiting for I'll collect my money, so don't bother. Some of you are worried for me, I'll collect my money. Okay? But are we learning at all? So if I myself am the problem of the business, today I take this out, I take that out, right, because of my own welfare, then that's where the problem really is. If I have a situation where I've had to go and do things for the company, right, in certain locations, and I'll put a seminar, I'll put a conference, are we together now, so that I can at least money to cover some of those costs, right, will be taken care of at least a good portion from that conference, so that I'm not a liability to the business. Is this making sense at all? Yeah. Come on, is it making sense? Yeah. Okay, so long-term strategy, right? Hello, are we here? Yes. So long-term strategy. So define your investment goal as we start taking questions. I hope you guys have your questions and then we'll wrap up. Define your investment goal, evaluate your capital and risk tolerance. And that even answers what you were saying. What is your risk tolerance at this moment? Right? What can you endure at this moment? All this has to be analyzed. Then we looked at introduction to land banking. My favorite is land banking. How to start land banking. Scout major metropolis and city using Google Earth to analyze trends. Build wealth, through strategic land banking and desired generational impact. Okay? So I can go on. I will have to stop here. See? These are how you will learn. You see, we won't live here. So this is huge. Yes. So I'll take questions.
Yes.
You can clap if you want to clap.
So are you familiar with subject to real estate? Subject to real estate. Are you familiar with that?
Subject to real estate.
Subject to.
Subject.
T-O.
Yeah. Okay.
I may know what it is, but the term, you guys use a lot of terms here.
Oh,
so you need to explain.
Where you as in payment, paying up the loan. So let's say somebody can't pay for their house anymore, you just take over the payment of their house, and then you get the deal to the house. Yes, and then but you're not liable for the loan, and you can take the house outrightly from that person and sell it off of them and make the profit.
Well, we didn't talk about it in the book, but another book then. Another book then.
So let me read what it says here on Google. It says is subject to deal in real estate is when a buyer agrees to take over the mortgage payment on a property from the seller who remains liable for the mortgage. The buyer becomes the owner of the property and can rent it out, fix it or flip it.
Can sell it.
Yes.
And can sell it here.
My own knowledge about subject to is this: if somebody is clapping behind on the mortgage, you put up a notice to help them. You take the mortgage over from them. But there are a lot of documents that comes in the process. You are not just coming to take over their monthly mortgage and leave their monthly rent and leave the mortgage aside. Everything comes interwoven. The mortgage lenders know who you are already at that point. You sign paperwork from them and you are into it together, but you are the one paying them at that point.
No. So you just go to the escrow.
No. This is how it works. And there is another
I have
one.
done it over and over again.
I know. And there is.
It's sounding more like the one that, like,
No,
you have the
you're
tax
saying
link from the county, then you have the one that, if like they hold the HOA money, the HOA now takes the person to court, they get judgment, you take over the property for 2 years.
That one is auctioning.
It's not auctioning, you take over for 2 years.
So-
if the person does,
So let me
you
say
can redeem.
one house.
I know what
One house. Let me say first of all that one of my biggest thing when it comes to real estate is scalability. There are two things I look out for in business: universality and scalability. Right? If it's not scalable, I'm not interested. Right? There has to be enough meat. Right? So if I'm having to buy 1 unit, I hope you know that most of what I do is not the 1 unit and 2 unit. I'm not into all of that. Right? Can we build 400,000 units at once? Can we do 1,000? Even if it takes us 10 years and we face it out. That's what I do. Right? So again, some of these things might be good to start with, and there's nothing wrong with it. You may start with one project and you move to the other. But with me and what I do, it has to be big for it to make sense to me. Right? So I don't even touch or look at anything that we are not looking at scaling it long term. I don't even touch it. Right? And most of what we discuss in the book are things you can literally scale at a larger number. Of course, it doesn't mean, this can't be scaled. But day one, can I get into a project where I am doing 200 units? I'm doing 400 units. I'm doing 500 units. For example, one of the stuff we're working on here as well is multifamily, where we have one that, Tidwell. No, not Tidwell. That's we are constructing. The ones we are buying, and then we'll seek permits, right? And while we're taking the rent, we have about 4 that we're about to. We've not closed yet. We've not even signed one other contract. Right. So in those situations, we've seen some, for example, that there was one I saw that I really want to go for. It's I think 1.something million, 1.4 million. Remember? Right? And for me, it's just 15 units or so. But the goal is to demolish it and then go four-story high. Are we together now? So I'm demolishing it, one house. Are we together? Please come. I'm demolishing it, and then I'm turning it from 15 units. Are we together now? Straight to what? To about 60 units. Right? There's another one over 100 units, but there's enough land beside it and in front of it, right? And we can still do more. So those are, for me, what I look out for. There has to be enough meat in it. And it does not mean you shouldn't start small. Life is in phases, men are in sizes. You live your size per time. I mean, I have been in real estate alone for 10 years now, right? Business for over 20 years. So, you can't compare with me. But what I think we miss oftentimes in business is to think of universality and think of scalability. From day one, is this thing scalable? Can I move from just doing 2 easily, right, to doing 2,000, right? If it's not such a business, I don't even want to touch it. I'm not interested. Because the stress is one. Why not go? I tell people sometimes the physical stress of trying to make $100 million is the same as $2 billion. Physical strength. Mentally, of course, is a different ballgame. But most times, the physical energy is virtually the same. So why not just go bigger? Of course, considering mentorship, considering experience, and a lot of other factors. I hope that answer, all these other types of let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Okay? But hey, talk to the people who are doing, if you like that model, and why not, you can start with that. I want to say there is no one rule to real estate, let's be honest. And that's why the two of them might be doing the same thing. The approach might just be different.
Absolutely, what he said, he knew it, he was very correct about it. But there is another one they call assumption.
Yes, exactly. They are two different.
They are two different, but they are related.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that hey, in real estate there is no, there's no one size fits all. I remember meeting someone here in the US. Said, do you know one? She shall use one term like that. Okay, explain the term. Is that what? Whoever we bread called. We've done that over and over again. So it's because I do real estate globally, right? And the words are different, but they mean the same. For example, what you call commercial in the US is strictly residential in the UK, right? Once is people living in the house, it's called residential in the UK. Either it is 1,000 housing units or 2,000 is residential. Mm-hmm. But in America, once is multiple, then they call it commercial. So there are terminologies that change. Even in Dubai, certain terminologies, what we call duplex, they call it villa in Dubai, right? So, but the beauty about real estate is that it's still the same, right? The core principles are the same. The approach can change, the concept can change. You can think of your own words to coin whatever you want. That's okay, right? But start somewhere, right? Tell your neighbor, start somewhere. Okay? Any question as we sign the book and move forward? Welcome, those of you who are just coming. As you know, I don't do African time, so you are meeting us while we are wrapping up. But thank you for coming. I know Mr. Ade and his wife, can we celebrate them? Thank you for coming. Yes, any question? No question?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I came here anyway. After going through the book, is there any way, in case you have any question, to still be able to reach out to you for further clarification or explanation?
Well, to reach out to me, yes. The answer is yes. But I don't want to make commitments, to say the answer is yes. But generally, the answer is no. I can't respond to everybody's, because ultimately I think Billionaire Habit is one of my books, and we have sold over 100,000 copies now. So Billionaire Habit is one of my most sold book. Now, if 100,000 people are trying to reach out to me, right, for questions on the book, you and I agree that that's not exactly, that's wrong. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, in the sense that some people who buy the book can reach out to me, but it's not a general thing that everybody who buys the book, will necessarily be able to reach out to me for questions. I hope I've answered that. I love to manage people's expectations. Sometimes it looks as if I'm blunt, but it's good to be, because we are streaming this and people who are watching us are even more than those of us here. And someone say, but you said, some even will cut the video clip and say, you said you answer everybody's questions, so depends on the relationship we have. Definitely, I'm available. Any more questions? Any more questions? Well, good.
Do you have any plans to continue to do this for a while, since this is attached to the food bank? Like taking it to other cities in the US besides Houston? Just asking.
Well, the good question. I like that question. The book, we're trying to push it, like I said, please, one house, please. All proceeds from the book is going towards the food bank. We're opening a food bank in Lagos, and I'm glad to say that by first week of February, the Lagos one will be fully operational. We've already gotten a location we're leasing. It's a warehouse, and we're trying to probably do test run on my birthday on 28th of January. The one for Houston, the food bank in Houston, we have some agents who already have some locations. I will be seeing them, and hopefully before December we'll have opened the food bank in Houston as well. Are we happy to hear that? So proceed from the book goes towards that. One, we are trying to push it online, and you can join us in that course to get more people. They can donate as little as $20. They have access to the book, so it's win-win. They can also buy physical copy on the website. We ship it to them anywhere in the world with a donation of $50, $100, thereabouts. So those are how we're pushing. Now, visiting other cities, I'm doing a Canada tour starting next weekend. I'll be in Canada, Toronto to start with, then I'm in Nigeria, then in March we continue the Canada tour. The American tour, yes, I intend to do the 51 states in America, but I am not sure I can commit to it this year. But I will see how many states I can visit this year. Yeah, I like to do these things. The way Mr. Ade is looking at me like, yeah, but I love to travel anyway. But I'm not sure I can do the whole of 51 states this year, but I will make an attempt, right? But generally, I go around, I do a lot of book signing, I connect with people. It's something I even do before we started the football concept. But yes, we need volunteers as well, particularly those of you who live here, because once we open the food bank, we need volunteers every now and then for the food distribution and things like that. Okay? But how many of you think it's a good thing for us to do? I'm not even sure there is a Nigerian founder of any food bank in Houston. If I think it was, I'm not even sure. So I think it's even a good thing for even our narration as a community of immigrants. Is there any?
Not individual, but religious organizations.
Oh no, of course, churches do that all over. That one we know. But I'm saying that a Nigerian founded a food bank in Houston. I'm not sure there's any. And like I said, these things are good for our community because they all